This past week, the first project in James Gunn's new DCU finished up. It is Creature Commandos. Here is my review. Alrighty guys, thank you for clicking on this video. Before I get started, please make sure to subscribe, like button, hit the bell, and comment down below what is your opinions on Creature Commandos, and what is your opinions on the James Gunn stuff as a whole. For me, I've been very excited for the James Gunn stuff. I think Creature Commandos was a really weird way to start out, but I've obviously been excited for it because I personally have been really looking forward into it. And before we start discussing the show, I just kind of want to mention about the DCU discourse. Where do I stand on this? So basically it was supposed to be a full reboot. When the show started, it became very clear that Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad were part of the canon. And now they're talking about adding Matt Reeves, the Batman, to the canon, I think. And so, where do I stand on this? I don't hate that he didn't... I don't hate that he added the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker to canon. Number one, because those are two phenomenal projects by James Gunn. Number two, because just it makes it feel like a more lived-in world. You know, like, in this world, it's very clear that superheroes exist. You have a Batman cameo in here. Spoilers, I guess. But, like, if you include the Suicide Squad in there, you'll know, like, you got David Gordon's Superman that's kind of been established there a little bit. And so, I don't hate it. Now, where do I stand on them adding the Batman in here? I would dig that. I don't think we need to have two Batman movie separate universes together. Number one, because it would confuse a lot of people. Number two, because Matt Reeves' Batman is amazing. And number three, because there's been a bunch of controversy with Andy Muschietti. And as much as I did really like the Flash movie, I don't really think he's a great fit to direct a Batman movie. So that's just kind of where I stand on that there. And so, again, you can also tell me down below where you stand on that discourse. And we are going to get started talking about Creature Commandos, the first project in James Gunn's DCU. If you like James Gunn's style, if you like the stuff that James Gunn does, you'll like this show. I love James Gunn's style. I like the show quite a bit. I thought the show was very well done. There were some issues with it. The main thing I feel like they should have dropped the whole show at once instead of doing the week-by-week stuff, just because the week-by-week stuff kind of made me forget the show existed. Like, I would be sitting down and I'm like, do I got time to watch a movie? What show do I want to watch? Oh, wait. Creature Commandos exists. So it literally would do that. And so, like, there was times where I was like 3 or 4 episodes behind, where this past week I literally only finished, I think, episode 4, so I had to watch 5, 6... Wait, no, I was on episode 3, so I had to watch 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's how it went. So, kind of wish they did, like, the whole thing, because this would be a show that I could binge in one day, kind of feel like that. And even, like, make it a movie, you couldn't do half the things that you did in here, but I think it would also be a well-done movie. That was a flaw, too. Also, the show can feel a little bit repetitive, and this is more on the mixed aspect, because when it does feel repetitive, there are some things I really dig in the show. So the show, every single episode, you got the main story, and then you go back and explore a character's past of one of the specific Creature Commandos characters. And half of them, not half of them, most of them, I thought were very well done, if not all of them, where, like, we made us care about the characters more, and was also very emotional. Like, there was a big swelling score. It was very heartbreaking, a couple things that they do. So, obviously, James Gunn, very great with characters, very good making us care about the characters, very great making us care about the character interactions, and so all that is here on the show. Now, where we've become a bit repetitive is, that's the whole thing. Like, the story stuff was interesting, and then, like, you're going to constantly dart back and forth to learn more about the Creature Commandos, and so got a little bit repetitive at times. I was like, I don't want to go back there. I'm kind of invested in the story. Got me a little uninvested occasionally, but the backstories were really, really great. I also kind of feel that there are some plot lines that were left unanswered, mainly like Rick Flag. Like, he was hurt. We don't get to see if he, like, survives or if he dies or anything. Obviously he survives because he's in Superman, but there are some plot lines that are definitely left unanswered that definitely make me want a season 2. Make me be like, hey, feel like it could have been a little bit longer. And that's kind of where, like, the season finale comes in, to where I thought the season finale was great. It did a lot of great stuff, a lot of great reveals, a lot of great twists that I thought really worked, but there were some things that I was like, yeah, this needed to be longer than 28 minutes because there are definitely some plot lines that were left unresolved. The voice cast here is phenomenal. The two things that I come back are Zoe Shao as Nina Mrzensky. I don't think Mrzensky is your last word. Nina something whatever, the fishbowl girl, thought was phenomenal in here, one of the best. And David Harbour as Frankenstein I thought was very good. I mean, he had the most laughs. I've heard some people complain that David Harbour is not a voice actor. Fully disagree. He was awesome in here. He was hilarious, charming, nailed all the right beats. Rick Flag, Frank Grillo. Now that's where I'm kind of standing, where a lot of people are standing on David Harbour. I don't think he's a very good voice actor. Quite a few of his lines felt stale. I'm very excited to see what he brings to the table in live action. But for me, in this show as a voice actor, I don't think he was great. And Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus, that was great in the show. And again, every single one of these characters' backstories, all the voice actors are able to display emotion, able to display everything that we need to do. The animation is great, and there were the tear-jerking moments that we did get in the show. I also found the overall general story to be really, really good. Like, it's big, it's grand, it's about kind of like saving the world, but it's also kind of contained. Like, it's, you save the world, and we already spoiled some of it. We save the world if we kill one person. And that's kind of what the story is here, and it feels more self-contained, not a big end-of-the-world threat, while it is still a big end-of-the-world threat. And I think that's what James Gunn does so well, where you get in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Ronan, where he's like this big end-of-the-world threat, but he also is kind of like, he's just a henchman of Thanos. Or you get the starfish, Starro, from the Suicide Squad. Like, it's fate of the world, but they're fighting a giant starfish. That's where I think James Gunn could do so well, and he does that here with the story here. And again, even though I did find the backstories to sometimes be a little bit too recycled, and it kind of felt like we were cycling the same thing over and over again in the show, I always found them to be investing and somewhat emotional in there as well. So, I mean, I just thought this was a very well done show to start off the DCU. I thought it was funny. I thought the voice cast was good. The animation was great. And while it can feel repetitive quite often at times, I just overall really dug the story. It's just like a 7-episode miniseries. And like the run times of each episode were really small, and so they kind of sped by real quick. So it just kind of feels like you're sitting back and you're watching one of these episodes. It's a weird way to begin off the DCU. Fully, wholeheartedly agree. I don't think a lot of people are going to watch this. Like, quite a few people have never heard about it. Like, my mother was talking to me like, hey, I can't wait for Superman. And I'm like, you know, Creature Commandos actually started this universe. And she's like, what's that? And so it's going to be very weird. A lot of people aren't going to fully know. But for a show, it doesn't feel big. It doesn't feel grand. But it's entertaining enough. It suffices as an entertaining enough show. And as someone who really digs James Gunn's style, I really did enjoy this show, and then all the positives that I mentioned really outweighed the few negatives that I had here. So this is a show I did really enjoy, and I will always be looking forward to Season 2. Now, what did you guys think of Creature Commandos? I want to know all that down below and more. Before I give you my final score, subscribe, like button, and hit the bell so you never miss another review. The best and worst video is coming very soon. A ranking of all the shows I've seen is coming very soon, and also a ranking of all the Suicide Squad projects. So Suicide Squad 2016, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos. I'm going to do a ranking of that here in this next incoming week. Creature Commandos, really solid. Great voice acting for the most part. Some fantastic emotions in here. A really engaging story. And while the show can feel repetitive quite often, I'm a little bit mixed on the aspect that they decide to give us every backstory of it. I'm leaning more onto the positive of that because the backstories are emotional and it does everything that James Gunn can do well in a show. That's why for Creature Commandos, I am giving it an A-. Thank you guys for clicking on this video and stay tuned for all those videos. And with that said, subscribe, join the army. Peace out.